Hello everyone, I'm Carthu, and it's time, once again, to cover the age of certain characters in the Dragon Ball franchise. In this video, I'll be covering the age of future Trunks, as well as making clear when certain events happen in the future timeline, and also explain why Toyotaro's explanation of time travel just doesn't really make much sense. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. Of course, as always, we have to start at the beginning. Future Trunks is born the same year as present Trunks, in age 766. This is of course a year before the android's attack in May of age 767, which results in the deaths of Yamcha, Krillin, Tenshinhan, Chaozu, Vegeta, and Piccolo. At this point, Goku is already dead as a result of his heart virus, which didn't have a cure and no future Trunks to bring him a future cure. So, future Trunks is 1 year old during this, the beginning of humanity's destruction. We then have a 13-year time skip till we reach the History of Trunks anime and manga specials. That's right, the History of Trunks takes place in the year that Dragon Ball Super ended, age 780. This of course means that future Trunks is 14 years old, when his mentor Gohan dies by the hands of the androids, triggering future Trunks to turn Super Saiyan for the very first time. If we're talking about the anime special anyway, not the manga special. This obviously causes a lot of problems. Babidi attacked to get energy for Boo's resurrection in age 774. We know that Deborah is under Babidi's control in the future timeline, so it's weird to think that he wouldn't strike sooner since the androids, future Gohan, and future Trunks should all be substantial energy for him, and would easily be obtainable. We also have the issue of the Super Saiyan God prophecy, but I find this one somewhat easier to justify, though not without its own flaws. Beerus awakens in age 778 to search for the Super Saiyan God, so why doesn't he visit Earth? I think there is a pretty clear explanation as to what happened, but I'm going to save that for an upcoming video. So if you're interested in that, make sure you hit subscribe and the bell so you're ready when that comes out, probably next week. With all of the problems here laid out, what I say next should be more clear as events don't happen in the order they normally do in the main timeline. The next major event in future Trunks' timeline is his final encounter with the androids before going to the past. This takes place 3 years after future Gohan's death, and so it is in age 783. This means future Trunks is 17 at this point, and due to him barely surviving his loss to the androids here, he is hospitalized for the next year, presumably at least. This is because when future Trunks actually arrives in the present, he says he's from 20 years in the future, which is a great segue into age 784, the year that future Trunks leaves the future to warn the Z-Fighters of the impending android threat. What's interesting here is age 784 is the year that the end of Z takes place, so this 18 years old future Trunks is the same age as his present counterpart who fought in the 28th Tenkaichi Budokai in the main timeline. That means during the first and last appearances of Trunks in the original series, he was the same age. Pretty neat. Trunks returns to the future after warning Goku and has to wait 3 years before returning to the main timeline. This is because the process of creating a round trip's worth of fuel to refuel the time machine in the future takes 3 whole years, so future Trunks can't leave again until that process happens. This means when Trunks goes back to the main timeline, he's leaving in age 787 and is now 21 years old. This, however, is where the physical and calendar age for future Trunks begins to split. You see, Trunks, like many characters during the Cell arc, uses the Room of Spirit and Time in the present. Trunks uses it for 1 year before his first fight with Cell, meaning he is physically 22 during that fight, and then he uses the room for another year before the Cell games. This makes him 23 years old physically when he unfortunately dies. However, he isn't dead for very long, not even a day actually, so there's no need to adjust his physical age due to that in any way, and he returns to the future timeline shortly after he left it. This means he's still in age 787 when he kills the future androids, and is still 21 according to his calendar age, and 23 based on his physical age. There is a 3-year time skip before Trunks attempts to go back to the present to tell everyone that he succeeded in killing the androids, and this is because he obviously needs 3 years to refuel the time machine. This means we are now in age 790, and future Trunks is 24 by calendar and 26 years old physically. This should have been an uneventful year. However, Trunks knows he'll have someone waiting to steal the time machine from him. That someone being Cell. This is a non-issue for Trunks since he was prepared for Cell, and so he quickly destroys the monster with no difficulty whatsoever. After approximately 3 years of peace in the future timeline, Babidi decides to strike. This takes place roughly in age 793, so take this age with a grain of salt, as it could be anywhere between age 791 and 795 in theory. Just assuming age 793 though, this would make Trunks 27 years old if we go by his birth date, and 29 years old physically. Then there's another 3-year time skip to the attack of Goku Black in age 796. Now, Goku Black had already started killing off Supreme Kais and attacking Earth in age 795. However, future Bulma requires a year to generate enough fuel to send future Trunks back to the past, so the arc actually takes place in age 796. The number we're using for the age here is actually stated by Trunks himself when he says he'll go 17 years into the past to reunite with those he fought alongside in the Android arc. Future Trunks is now obviously 30 years old by birth date, and a crazy 32 years old physically. This makes him substantially older than present Gohan, who you can learn more about in my Gohan's Confusing Age video, which is actually pretty interesting considering how much future Trunks seems to look up to him as an older mentor figure. Now, what's interesting about future Trunks and the dates that certain events take place is how people overlook how long it takes to refuel the time machine in the future. The time machine takes 3 years to refuel for a round trip, even after the androids are defeated. This means there's no way for Trunks to only take a year to return to the present for the day that the androids attack, so he'd have to be there for the 3-year period. Even by the time of Goku Black's attack, it still takes a year for a one-way trip to the past. There is also the confusion surrounding Toyotaro's Dragon Ball Super manga, where he tries to explain that time travel can only happen from exactly 17 years in the future to 17 years in the past, and vice versa. Luckily, we can write this off as Bulma just misunderstanding time travel, as it is new to her, especially since Trunks should have traveled 20 years in the past for the first 2 times he used the time machine. As I said, it takes 3 years to refuel your time machine back then, so 17 years doesn't make sense at all here. Without getting too deep into this time travel BS, you can sort of make sense of Bulma's explanation, as it would just mean that traveling outside the parameters of exactly 17 years in this case would take you to an alternate future or alternate past depending on what direction you're going. However, there already should be more parallel timelines than there are actually present in terms of time rings, so this would make the issue just much worse. It's best to do what I said earlier and write this off as present Bulma not being fully educated on the subject of time travel since it's so new to her. With all of that covered, we should have a better understanding of Dragon Ball time travel, the years that events took place in the future, and future Trunks' age. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my other Age series videos, or head over to my second channel and check out the Future Trunks Pokemon Team video I made a little while ago. My second channel is called Carthu's Game Room, where I live stream about 3 times a week and have a video up every Sunday. If you're interested in Nintendo, Pokemon, and mixing that stuff with anime, then I think you'll really enjoy that channel a lot, and it would mean a lot to me if you could go check it out at the very least. I appreciate all of your support. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit the like button, leave your opinions and counterpoints in the comments down below, and hit subscribe and the notification bell. That way you get to stay up to date on the channel and everything that goes on with it. If you're interested, please check out the merch store to support the channel in another way that gives you something in return. But till next time, peace!